Welcome back to the wood shop, guys, and welcome to another money-making woodworking project. Today we're going to use one single 2x8. Now this one is a little too long. We're going to cut that down, no problem. Stick around. Okay, so we're getting ready to cut that 2x8 down to the pieces we need. Before we get into that though, let's talk about this week's sponsor. Once again, Banggood Tools. Any of you long-time viewers know Banggood has been a long-time sponsor of this channel. Today they've sent me over this little table saw sled, quite handy. Seems to be good and accurate. Let me show you some of the benefits of this one. Okay, so this one does have sort of an laminate top here, so your pieces of wood will slide across good and smooth. It does come with these aluminum pieces here that's going to be basically your fences. It does have a bit of a blade guard here on the back just so that you're not getting your hands too close. And it does go up quite high here, so if you've got to cut something a little taller, that works out great. Also comes with its own dedicated stop here where you can move it left or right, lock it down. But let me show you some of my favorite features of this one. So that one you can tell is quite crooked. We've cut that in on a previous project. We want to get that square again. I do have the blade up quite high, so we're going to make this square. And for just a basic cut, just a plain old kind of junk it up 2x4, we got a good and square cut there, so no problem there. But let me show you my favorite one on this one. So because of the size of it, it is great for smaller items. If you're trying to do that freehand or even with just a miter gauge, that can be a little tough holding these smaller pieces. And so because this is a good flat sled and the size of it, it works great for this small stuff. So it makes it where you keep your hands away from this blade. So that's a good safety feature. And one other thing I like to use this for, I've just got a little 45-degree wedge right here. We'll wedge that up against the end of this. If you want to make 45-degree cuts, it works great for that too. So a great little feature to have, just to add something, make picture frame, something similar to that. Great little option there. So if you're interested in this table saw sled, I'll leave a link in the description. Once again, thanks to Banggood for sending this out. Now let's get back to the project. As I mentioned earlier, this one is out of a 2x8. Now, as with a lot of my projects, you can make this wider or smaller, depending on what you want. I think this is a good size for what we're doing. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut two 12-inch pieces. Actually, I'm going to cut them a little longer just so that we can square them up. This, like I mentioned, is a 12-foot piece. I don't need nowhere near that much. It just happens to be what I have. But we're going to cut this probably around 13 so I can square it up at the table saw. For our next cuts, we're going to cut two more pieces at 6 inches long. Okay, we're kind of on the final major cuts here. We're going to cut two more at 18 inches, go about 19 just so we can square these up. Let's get those cut. One other thing I forgot to mention, this just happens to be a pressure treated 2x8. Does not need to be pressure treated at all. This just happens to be what I had, so that's what we went with. And these actually look great when you do them out of hardwood, oak, cherry, walnut, whatever you want to do that out of. This happens to be what I've got, so this is just what we're using for demonstration purposes. Okay, so out of a 12-foot board, I've got this much left over. Would have been a little bit longer. I had a little mismeasurement there. So you're expecting about 6 feet out of a 12-feet board, so you're only using about 6 feet. So one 8-footer should do plenty for what you want it to do. And this next step you don't have to do. As I mentioned in several of my videos, I just like to have a flat edge and a flat surface. So I'm going to run it through the joiner and the planer just to make sure everything comes out nice and smooth. So we're finally at the point we're here where we're going to make our final length cuts. As I mentioned, these are going to, the smaller one's going to be 6 inches long. The next one's up are 12 inches. And the three we cut at 19 inches. We're going to put those at 18 inches, except for one. We're going to cut that one down to around 17 and a half. And you'll see why we do that here in just a little bit. Okay, so on the one I've marked here, 17 and a half, as you can see, we're going to make two cuts to rip these down to 2 inches. And you can see the one edge here has a pretty bad knot, so I'm going to start from this edge, put that right up against the fence. So now what we're going to do is take our two 12-inch pieces we've got, our two 6-inch pieces. We're going to square those up in the vise here. I'm doing two at a time. And then we're going to take our narrower strips we just cut. And we're going to set these in the center and then mark those out. Basically, we're going to do a inset of these, but we'll mark these out. Probably cut them with a jigsaw just so it's easier. They don't have to be perfectly tight, but we'll lay those out and get them cut. And then I'm just going to take this little ruler here, make it the same height as our piece, and just lock it down. So I've grabbed the old jigsaw. Now I will say I don't really care for a jigsaw. It gets the stuff done quick, but in my experience, it's not very accurate. Your blade wants to do this, but it'll get the job done. And if we have to, we can use a chisel, or you can use a bandsaw. But this is, most people can afford a jigsaw, and you can see our layout lines here. So we're going to get these cut. We've got 4 cuts to make. So as I mentioned, the jigsaw does not exactly give a clean cut, and it kind of dug in there a little bit, which doesn't matter. It's going to be covered up. We're just going to take a chisel. Now I've got kind of a wide one here. We're just going to clean that up. So now you could glue or screw or however you want to do these things, put them together. I'm going to use some pocket hole screws, going to be plenty strong enough, and it's going to save us a little time too. And I've got them all marked out here so I don't get them confused. And I've got them set to 1.5 inches just like they are. So we'll go ahead and drill these holes. Okay, so we're finally ready to assemble this thing. Got all the pieces basically laid out. Got the pocket holes drilled in here. I'm going to add a little bit of glue, and we're going to put these together. This thing's going to come together real quick. Okay, so for our next step, the pieces we cut that are 18 inches long, the full width ones, we're going to go ahead and round over the front edge and the side edges. So this is probably starting to look like a sand castle at this moment, but our next step, we're going to come in This is going to depend on what you want to do. Personally, I'm going to come in about 3 inches from each end. We're going to make a mark, and then we're going to draw a little arch here. And just so our blade stays good and square, we're going to do this at the bandsaw. Okay guys, now we're ready to put this thing together. You can kind of see what we've got going here. We put just a little bit of glue here in the top and the bottom. You don't have to go crazy with it. So we're going to get that flush. Drill us a countersink hole right here in the center. We've got a 3-inch screw. Because of the way we got these pocket holes, it's going to be easier, in my opinion, to turn this upside down. And as you can see down here, I've kind of got it just evened up by feel. Doesn't have to be exact. That feels pretty good as far as a little bit of an overhang. And we'll start with our screws here. So here we are, guys. It's pretty much the end of this project. If you couldn't tell, we have the weirdest spice rack you've ever seen. No, I'm just kidding. Pretty nice step stool here. Looks really good. People will absolutely love these. You have no problem selling these. If you don't want to sell them, it makes a nice addition to the kitchen for those cabinets just out of reach. So I'm going to put pictures up at the end. We're going to add a little bit of stain to this. We're not quite sure what color. It turns out awesome. Either way, I appreciate you watching. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you on the next video.